And I had been through lots of sales training in my previous job, so I understood that completely and took to it right away.
Right.
And what I would do is, at least at the beginning, I would work my day job until about 1 o'clock, have lunch, and then I would come here and I would either make calls or knock on doors. And then on weekends, I would do open houses every weekend.
So you were cold calling, door knocking. Now, did you build a farm?
There was
Classic farm?
There was an area that I worked, an area of Saugus that I worked, and it wasn't very long before I was the number one agent in Saugus. In fact, I think my first full year, I was the number one agent in R.R. Gable. I started to, I would go door to door with always something in my hand, something, a new listing I had taken or a house that was going to be open that weekend,
Right.
Hey, if you want to stop by, I'd love to talk to you. If you know anybody looking to move into the area, people could see I was working. So, it didn't take long.
You think that's it?
I'm sorry?
You think that's it? People need to know you're working?
Don't you think that's what the public wants?
Boy, I think so. I hope so.
Well, I think they do. And I think the public's more educated than ever. You have to remember, back then, the public had no access to the MLS.
Right.
Cell phones weren't used. Every offer was presented in person. The amount of information that the public had, they had nothing. So if I showed up at your door and said, hey, I just listed the home around the corner for $310, it's the largest model in the neighborhood, and we're looking for people that might be interested in moving to a larger home. When do you plan on moving? People will go, hey, I'll never forget the first listing I ever took. The guy was moving to Vegas. And the first sign call I get is from a client, or ends up being one of my best clients, down the street. Neal, we've always wanted to get a bigger home in the neighborhood, but we have a friend that's going to sell ours, but could you come talk to us about maybe buying, and off you go.
Right.
Right. So just working deep into those neighborhoods, it didn't take long before I knew Saugus like the back of my hand. Because when you're going door to door, you learn it pretty quick.
Right. Yeah. And did you focused in a small area, 1,000 houses, 500 houses?
Yeah,
it was all of Saugus.
It was about 1,500 homes.
1,500 homes.
Yeah, and
so you were going back and getting people to know who you were. Your objective is know me.
Inside of 6 months, everybody knew who I was.
So
inside of a year, they were calling me.
Were you mailing?
No.
Spending money?
Mm-hmm.
Just showing
I didn't have
face.
any money to spend.
Got it.
No, it was just face to face. I had this kind of odd idea for a long time, Roger, that it was it's kind of a Mike Ferry idea, really. It's much more profitable to just go out and meet people than it is to mail them and expect that they're going to call you.
Right.
The return on that wasn't high enough for somebody that, A, I didn't have anything else to do anyway, and B, I didn't really have the money to invest in that kind of stuff. And it was drilled into my head, that realtors, by and large, make $1 and spend $1.10. I mean, it took, I think, probably 6 or 7 years before I even committed to the little real estate book that used to be around back then, which was a wonderful, wonderful thing. Back then, before the internet, people called off that all the time.